What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another market update, and this time we've got mint on card figures as well as some packaged play sets. Everything, I believe, is mint in sealed box. We've got graded, we've got ungraded, early card backs, all the way through to the Droid series. Lots of fantastic items out there, and while there's some that sold for much higher than I expected, there were some really good deals out there, some very, very tempting items. And I think now's a really good time to keep up with your eBay searches, because no matter what you're looking for the most part, unless it's super rare, it's going to be out there eventually this year. It just seems like there's lots of good inventory, and I found a number of pretty incredible items. And while some of the, like I said, some of the prices surprised me on the upper end, some of them were not. Some of them were pretty good deals, whether it's buy it now or auction. So let's dig right in. The first one I've got is a 12-back A SKU on the figure footer, Darth Vader AFA 80 archival case. SKU on figure stand, 80, 85, 85 were the subgrades. Look at this incredible early card back. Absolutely gorgeous. It was a punched example, no price sticker. You know, around the blister, there was kind of some edging or curling going on. But still, I think that's a really, really nice example of the earliest known 12-backs. All of them that have the SKU on the figure stands are the early 12-backs. And this one sold for $3,450 on 38 bids plus $30 shipping. Incredible item. And this seller, LJ's Card Shop, he's got a few other items that he sold at auction here recently that were pretty amazing that we're going to cover a little bit later on. But wow, what an incredible 12-back A with the SKU on the footer. Certainly not anything I'll have in my collection ever, but just really cool to see that sell. I would be curious as to know what you guys think this would sell for if this had been at Hakes. Now, it was punched, but very, very high grade, and tough to find those early 12-back A's. Going back to that seller, Lumat 2, and this is the seller I bought my 32-back B Bosk from, and he's listed a few other items, including some gorgeous die casts. This was a Darth Vader TIE Fighter on the early card back. It was a yellowed blister, but it was unpunched. A little bit of creasing on the card. Blister looked really good shape overall, just slightly yellowed, unfortunately, but easily a yellowed 80, I would say, for that one. That one sold for 687 Australian dollars or 474 US dollars, plus another $26 shipping. Now, again, I want to emphasize, I bought that 32B Bosk, and it arrived bomb-proof. So if you see anything that this seller has that you like and you're in the U.S. or not in Australia, at least from my experience, it was just perfectly packaged. It arrived flawless, and I don't think you really need to worry about something arriving safely with this seller down in Australia. So gorgeous example of that die cast. This was a different seller, but this is one that was super tempting. It was the X-Wing TIE Fighter, mint on card, gorgeous clear blister. It looked to be in pretty fantastic condition. And this was a buy it now situation. It was punched. The price sticker was kind of partially still there, but I don't see any litho tears on it. The card back was in great shape. Look how crystal clear that blister is. Absolutely gorgeous. That one sold for $399. It got listed. I was like, there's no way this is not going to sell. And very quickly, it had about 10 or 11 watchers, and then it sold about a day or two later. But pretty gorgeous example of the X-Wing fighter on the original card back there. Crystal clear blister. $400 plus $9.75 shipping is probably about right for that item, just given how clean that one was. Going back to Lumat 2, he had this Slave 1, again a yellowed blister. The card back had quite a bit of creasing and spider veins, as you can see there. And it also had a crease in the lower left-hand corner on the front of the card back. Blister looked to be nice and clean sealed. Also, no dents in the blister, no cracks that I could see. That one sold for 565 Australian dollars, which is about 390 US dollars. He also had the twin pod cloud car with a yellowed blister. It did have a crease going all the way across at the top of the card through the logo there. You can see it kind of towards the very top. That crease goes all the way through. Probably like a 60 grade would be my guess. Maybe a 70, low 70 grade. But still a pretty nice example of a tough-to-find mint-on-card die-cast cloud car. That one sold for 520 Australian dollars, which equates to about 358 US dollars plus shipping. But another data point for a mint-on-card die-cast. This seller had a few really early 20 backs that were incredible. And the first one is the 20 back Sand People with the Boba Fett offer. Crystal clear blister. It did have a slight spider vein and maybe some sticker residue in the upper right-hand corner that he did disclose. But look how clean that blister is on him. That one is just really, really clean. Probably an overall 80 grade. That one sold for $511. That's a really good price given that AFA 80s can go for quite a bit more than that. So $511 for that one I think is really good. It's on that borderline between 75 and 80. There is a crease that did not show up terribly well in the photos, but it was disclosed by the seller. Here we go. Right there, right around Luke and Leia, there is a very faint crease that goes in the upper right-hand corner of the card back. But $511 I think was very fair. Now here's the one that he had that was incredible. This was a mint on card Red Bar R5 21 back. Wow, that is tough to find. So to get these red bars, and when I'm saying red bars, I'm talking that far left bar is filled in with the orange/red color. Loose and ungraded, they can sell for $500 to $600. I just saw one that was a CAS 80 grade that sold for $825. But this one's mint on card, crystal clear blister on an early 21 back. And the price did not disappoint. $1,885 took that one home plus shipping. But pretty awesome to see that one sell in an auction. Here was another R5D4. This was just the standard R5. And you can see there that red bar is not filled in. So this would be kind of the standard Hong Kong. This was on the 45 back Star Wars display arena. It was an unpunched card. That one sold for $307. Tough to see what kind of grade this one would get, but a little bit of wave to the card, but overall pretty decent condition, I would say. Let's see if we can get a look at the back here. Just some slight curling to the card, but in general, pretty good shape. It's probably a 75/80%, somewhere in that ballpark. It did have a ding on the blister, as you can see right there towards the top of the stem, and some kind of stress marks on that blister. So probably more like a 75 would be my guess, but very, very nice item though overall. And that price I think was very fair given the condition, but really nice example. It's just that blister had that one bad crease right at the top of the stem there by the footer, as you can see right there. So it's got some kind of stress marks that go on. It didn't look like it's cracked. It's just heavily stressed. And that would probably bring the overall score down to at best a 75. But 307, I mean, you can't beat that. I paid over double that for my AFA 80 example, and I think 307 is very fair for that. Next up, this was a nice AT-AT driver. I believe this was a 41 back, probably the 41 back D, it looks like. Now, it did have some scuffing on the back, as you can see, some kind of discoloration and scuffing. There's white marks on the back of the card back there, but the front really displays nicely. I think this is a 75, or it may be a very, very low 80. Slight stress mark above the hang tab. It did have a price sticker. Look how crystal clear that blister is, though. Very, very nice example. And $325 for that in an auction, 30 bids, $325 plus $15 shipping. That's a really good buy in my mind for a 75 plus kind of grade AT-AT driver 41 back. So there are some good deals out there. Here's another good deal. This one was relisted because of a non-paying buyer, and originally it went for over $600, but this 48 back Han sold for $365, and you can see it's very clearly got the waffle pattern, so it's factory sealed, and it's got that Revenge of the Jedi offer sticker there. Pretty nice, clean condition, unpunched, no price sticker, crystal clear blister, no dings in the blister. The only negative was on the back of the card, right below the Admiral Akbar offer. You can see a litho tear on the back of that card right there. And I'm assuming because it was relisted, that's why it went so low. But, that went for about half the price it went for originally. But that's a good buy. I mean, assuming everything's legit and there's no issues with it. It did have one kind of minor ding in the lower right-hand corner of the card back. But I think this is probably an 80 grade. And, again, it's on the border because of that litho tear on the back and then that ding in the lower right-hand corner on the front. But, maybe 75, 80, or 85 for the blister and then 85 figure score. I mean, that's probably an 80. And to get that for $365 is a bargain in my mind. Next up, going back to Lumat 2, he had this mint in sealed package ESB laser pistol. What an awesome item. It did have some issues. It had a litho tear in the upper left-hand corner, from where the price sticker was probably removed. It had a slight tear in the upper right-hand corner on the inside of the packaging there, but Really awesome item. That one sold for $621 or 900 Australian dollars. Probably a little higher than I'd spend on it because it had another litho tear there on the left-hand side of the packaging, but that's awesome. I mean, that's a really nice item. That's the early laser pistol, DL44. It's got Luke Dagobah landing there. Just an awesome kind of mint and sealed package item. He also had the Biker Scout laser pistol. This one was still sealed with that kind of binder around the handle of the Scout pistol, and pretty decent condition overall. That one sold for $448. It did have kind of some tears or at least some spider veins going on at the top of the packaging, but overall pretty clean condition, probably 75 grade condition, but pretty awesome to see that for $448 US dollars or 650 Australian dollars. Here was a 32 back B Yoda. Obviously the debut card. This one did have a price sticker with a partially punched hang tab. The blister was crystal clear. There was a little bit of wear around the hang tab there, some slight edge wear to it, but pretty clean overall, except for the back right there. There was a pretty bad crease that kind of went around the blister. So probably 75 grade would be my guess at best because of the spider veins on the back of the card there, but pretty clean condition for $229.50. That's a good buy. That's a good buy. In 80 grade condition, you're probably doubling that price to about $500 to $550 pretty easily. But for a 70 plus 75 grade 32 back B debut card, crystal clear blister Yoda for $229.50, that's a good buy. Next up, this was an incredible Yoda. This one, I believe, was the 65 back A, and this one had a beautiful crystal clear blister, AFA 75. 75, 85, 90 were the subscores. So two subscores that were very high. Just the card kept the value down a little bit, but pretty awesome unpunched 65 back. Hard to find that with a crystal clear blister. Obviously, this is the brown snake, dark green head Yoda, and that one sold for 988 Australian dollars, which is 681 US dollars. Again, when I say it's a good buy, I'm talking about relative to recent comparable sales. To me, this is a good buy relative to other crystal clear Return of the Jedi Yodas. It's tough to find those with a clear blister. I think that's a very fair price. Now, let's say it was an AFA 80. I would say it's going to be over $1,000. So to get it for $681, I think it was appropriately discounted and a really good buy. Here was a beautiful one. This was an ungraded, made in Mexico Lily Letty for the U.S. market Yoda. So this has got the Lily Letty Mexico Yoda inside. You can see that bright green head there. Card back was pretty tatty. Lots of creases on the card. Some litho tears. Probably an overall 70 grade. That sold for $835. So, to me, an AFA 75, you're probably approaching $1,000 to $1,200 minimum. We talked about one in a what to buy video, and I just had trouble pricing it. But this one does have some issues with it. Probably an overall 70 at best. But $835 took that one home for that made in Mexico. And on the back of the card here, you can see in the lower left-hand corner, it says made in Mexico. Now this one also, it looks like it's missing the hole punch that goes through the blister. Most of them do have that, but this one's missing that. And we've seen a couple of those here recently that are missing that factory hole punch. But pretty awesome card back, and tough to find that one. Next up was a clear blister 65 back Forlom, unpunched, or at least partially unpunched with a price sticker. That one sold for $260. It wasn't perfect by any means. It had a little crease above the hang tab there, but overall, really great shape, probably 75 plus or maybe even an 80 grade. But another one that often yellows, and very nice deal, I think. $260 on that one was a good price. This was a great deal that was picked up by a Patreon supporter, and this is a Palatoy Tri-Logo miscard with the Klaatu on the Klaatu Skiff card bag. This is a pretty common kind of miscard, and this one sold for $256.90. I thought that was a great price. The blister was in fantastic condition overall. To me, I think if you get that for $256, that's a good buy. I paid more for mine that was in worse condition. So great buy who picked that one up. Congratulations to my Patreon supporter. I hope it arrives safe and sound and everything looks good on it. But at first blush, all the photos make it look really nice, and I think that one would probably grade a low 80. Next up, we've got a Han Solo with the alternate card image, AFA 75, yellowed 77 back A. The subscores were 75, 80, 85. It was punched with a price sticker, but this is a tough one to find with the alternate image. $810 took that one home. Now, again, if this was, let's say this was an AFA 75 plus, but clear blister, I bet you'd be talking over $1,200 for it. That would be my guess. So you're getting a little bit of a discount because of this, of the pretty moderately yellowed blister, and because it was punched with a price sticker, but still a gorgeous example. Likewise, here's a 77 back with the alternate image Rockstar Chewbacca. Also yellowed, but it looks like fairly faint yellowing to that blister. The card back was in much better condition, unpunched, no price sticker. That one sold for $385. I thought that was a really good price. $10.99 shipping on that one, 44 bids. That closed on January 8th. Very, very good condition. I think that was a great buy. Power of the Force, we've got a Power of the Force Imperial Gunner with a slightly, I'd say moderately yellowed blister. It did have a pretty bad crease going from the left-hand side there from the hang tab, and it also had a sticker residue in the upper right-hand corner, as well as a separate Toys R Us sticker. But probably overall 75 grade would be my guess. That one sold for $390. I mean, given what these Imperial Gunners sell for just loose and ungraded, I think $390 for that one was a good buy. Next up, we got a Droids Canadian R2-D2. Now, this one sold for $826. But I think it's because there weren't enough photos. I mean, I'm assuming that this blister doesn't have any cracks in it. It looks pretty clean to me. It was moderately yellowed, but the card back looked to be in good shape. But I think this is a case of where the seller had given more angles and taken it out of the star case for the photos. He might have gotten a better price on it. But pretty nice deal there for an unpunched Canadian Droids R2-D2, $826 plus $12.60 shipping. That's probably the lowest I've seen one of these sell ungraded for in a while. Next up, let's go back. Well, I've got some more play sets in a second that were graded, but this is an ungraded linear box art Jabba the Hutt. This was mint and sealed box. That sold for $431.90 on January 11th. As you can see, it's very clearly still factory sealed. But, you know, obviously there's the regular box art, and then there's this line box art. I don't know the whole story behind it. Somebody told me a while ago, but I've already forgotten what he told me, whether it was Overstock or Sears or Canadian exclusive. But, you know, this is just the alternate kind of box that was available for that Jabba the Hutt playset. But $432 took that one home. Now going back to LJ's Car Shop, he had the original Dewback. This is the 1978 original Dewback, AFA 80 mint and sealed box, as good as it gets for that original. This is not the collector series that came out in 1983. AFA 80 1979 Patrol Dewback. Wow. And that one sold for $1,550, as you'd expect. I was expecting $1,200 plus, and it blew past that number. $1,550 for that. That's a really nice example of the earlier box art for the Patrol Dewback, the original box art. Well, there might have been a long play logo one, so this is probably the second box that came out for the Patrol Dewback. He also had an AFA 85 mint and sealed box Rancor monster. This one would be a lot. This is a display space hog, but what an incredible item. That one sold also for $1,555, so about the same price as what the Patrol Dewback sold for. But I'd take the Patrol Dewback all day long. But this is a really nice example if you got the display space for it. But an incredible item, $1,555 plus $30 shipping for an AFA 85 Rancor Monster mint and sealed box. And then finally, we've got the Dagobah playset AFA 50. As you can see, the sticker on the box is heavily sun faded, so that held the price, or held the grade back. Overall 50 score on that one. And again, I think it's mainly because of the fading on the front of the sticker there. But that one sold for $631 on 25 bids plus $25 shipping. So just another data point for a few graded playsets that you don't see pop up very often in an auction. And those prices, for the most part, were not that surprising. And as you can see from some of the mint on cards that I showed you, there are some pretty decent deals out there on eBay right now. So keep your head on a swivel, and maybe you'll find some good deals out there yourself. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.